Every time a student logs in, clicks a module, or submits a quiz, they leave a digital footprint. Institutions are flooded with these raw metrics. But possessing millions of data points does not automatically tell an educator how to help a struggling student. Learning analytics bridges that gap through the active, sequential process of translating raw evidence into concrete insight. This transformation happens across a continuum of 4 distinct stages. The overarching objective of this pipeline is to take cold educational metrics and turn them into ethical, actionable instructional interventions. A mass of metrics only becomes valuable once it enters a structured pipeline designed to process that information into better decisions. To understand how this works, we can map this analytical pipeline to a familiar human process, a visit to the doctor. When you walk into a clinic, the very first thing you do is list your symptoms. In learning analytics, this maps directly to our first stage, describe. Here, the goal is to establish the concrete facts of what happened in the past. This chart shows how that works in practice. We can look at the raw data to report and compare exactly how many students passed the Chapter 2 test versus Chapter 1. To execute this stage, we rely on quantitative analysis. We look at test averages, graduation rates, and LMS logins. We are looking exclusively at objective numerical data to answer questions like how many, how much, what percentage. Quantitative description forms the foundational bedrock of analytics. Without an objective mathematical record of what actually occurred, educators have no starting point to fix it. Once the symptoms are listed, the doctor gives a diagnosis. Our pipeline mirrors this with Stage 2, diagnose. If Stage 1 established the facts, like our drop in test scores between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Stage 2 exists to determine why that discrepancy happened. To find that cause, we shift our technique to qualitative analysis. We examine student reflections, open-ended interviews, and instructor observations. This non-numerical data provides the subjective context missing from the raw test scores. It reveals the human experience and the specific friction points behind the numbers. We move from the hard, objective counts of the first stage into the nuanced, subjective reasoning of the second. Raw facts alone lack meaning. It takes this diagnostic step to transform evidence into a reasoned interpretation of the learning environment. Next, the doctor tells you what to expect over the coming days. In analytics, this is our third stage, predict. We take the historical data and use it to forecast future outcomes, like estimating exactly how many students are likely to pass Chapter 3. A highly effective technique here is social network analysis. This technique studies interaction patterns and behavioral relationships among groups of learners, calculating probabilities to anticipate how similar groups will behave. By mapping these trajectories, educators stop reacting to past failures and start actively preparing for likely outcomes. Finally, the doctor writes a prescription or orders rest. Our pipeline concludes the exact same way, with Stage 4, prescribe. This stage recommends specific interventions to achieve a targeted goal, like planning the precise steps required to secure an 80. Running this pipeline correctly requires technical precision, but the strategy itself is meaningless without a clear institutional objective driving it. Broadly, analytics serves 3 operational purposes. The first is improvement, deploying data to expose weaknesses in instructional design and course content so we can fix them. The second is research, gathering insights to compare instructional strategies and generate new knowledge about learner behavior. The third is accountability, tracking performance against predefined standards to demonstrate program efficiency to stakeholders. Regardless of the purpose, there is a mandatory guardrail that governs every single stage: ethics. From collection and analysis to interpretation and action, educators must actively safeguard learner privacy, ensure analytical fairness, and protect student equity. Purpose gives your data direction. Rigorous ethics ensures that direction never harms the learner. We can now see the complete analytical journey. Learning analytics is the deliberate progression from describing past facts to prescribing future solutions. It relies on a strict alignment of methodology. Quantitative data describes the numbers, qualitative context diagnoses the causes, and social network analysis predicts trends. When these stages operate in sequence, bound by strict ethical standards, the output is a set of contextually aware decisions that drive measurable instructional improvement. Ultimately, The value of learning analytics lies in the successful transformation of evidence into ethical instructional action.